Hello everyone. In this demo, we will set up a Zitadel account with an example application. The first thing that we need is a Zitadel Cloud Customer Portal. And for that, we will head over to zitadel.com, which is open in front of me right now. And we will click on sign up and we will create a account for the customer portal. So I will give it a team name. I will go with something simple. And now it has sent us a invitation link. This is the email that we get. Click on accept invite. Um, Now it has given us the option to choose password or passkeys. We will go with passkeys for a passwordless experience. So let's set up a passkey now. Now we are logged in the customer portal. But before we can access it, it gives us a quick survey. This survey is important for us. That helps us in prioritizing new features, releases, SDKs. That's pretty quick. So I'm using Citadel for myself. I would like to set up a login page first, and then I heard about it on LinkedIn. And now that's done, we are in our customer portal. It's time to create our first instance. As you can see, this is the customer portal. And the first step that we have to do is create an instance. An instance is its own identity environment with its own org, project settings, policies, and data. In an ideal scenario, most developers will have separate instance. There would be a dev environment, there would be a production environment, there would be a test environment. Similarly, there would be a test instance, dev instance, and production instance. And it just isolates all its organization, project settings, policies, and of course, the data. Now it's time to create our first instance. We will click on create instance. We have to give a instance name. So let's just give it my dev instance. Whatever instance name we will give here, our domain name will be generated according to this instance name. That I will show you in a second once we reach to that point. Next is to select a region. Choosing a region close to your users minimizes the latency, but because this is a free account, we get a United States as a free region. So we will just use that. Next is to set up a admin user. User has root permission, and this user will have all the permission to manage all the organization policies. So in this case, I will give it the username and then I will give it a simple password. And I'll click on confirm detail. So these are the details that I have for my instance right now. This is the instance name. This will be the instance organization name that we put in when we were creating the account. This is the default region that we selected, and this is the admin user that will be created for this instance. Now we'll click on create instance. And that's it. Our instance has been created. Now we can go on creating our first app. So it's very simple. As you can see, our instance has been generated based on the instance name that we gave it in the earlier step. In our case, we gave it my dev instance. So our unique instance is generated based on that. And now we are ready to log in with the user that we created. Click on next, and our password, if you can continue. And as you can see, this is where we will start creating our first project. Now we are in the management console. This is where you configure your projects and applications. Zitadel organizes apps into projects. Think of it as a folder where related apps share the same security rules and other user rules. Let's create one. So first, I will give our project a name. Then I will select React since we are building a React app. And then I will click on Continue. As you can see, Citadel has auto-configured the security based on our React application type. A few important things to go over here is user agent. Here, user agent tells Citadel that our app runs in a user's web browser. Pixie or PKCE, it's a modern auth strategy that ensures tokens are exchanged securely. If we scroll down, it has some redirects information as well. These URIs are pre-filled for local host testing, and that's what you need at the moment. So we'll scroll all the way down and we'll click on create. Now we are on the application page. We need a couple of things from here. The number one thing is the client ID. It's the unique identifier for our app that we will need in our React code later. Uh, the other thing that we need is the discovery endpoints that we will find under the URLs. These are our Zitadel instance URL. What's cool is that by giving just the URL to our SDK, Zitadel automatically discovers all the logins, logouts, and the token points. You don't need to configure manually. So these are the two things that we need. And now that we have our client ID and the URLs, what we will do is that we will head back to the onboarding process and we will just refresh it. And we will see that our app has been created that we just created here. The next step would be to authenticate our app. All right, so now we are at the final step, that is the authenticating our app. This is where everything comes together. And for this, we are going to take a React example app and connect it to the Zitadel authentication system that we set up. By the end of this step, you will have a working login system. Let me walk you through it. We need the example React project. This is a ready-made application that already knows how to talk to Citadel. We are going to clone it and customize it for our setup. Link for this repo is in the description below, and it's also in our docs as well. Just a quick note on the example repositories. We have example repositories for 20 plus frameworks, by the way. You can check it out on our quick start guide. Here we are going with React framework for this demo, but as you can see, there are various example repositories that you can find in the description below and also in our quick start guide as well. So the step one would be to clone this repository. I'm going to clone this from GitHub. The project is called Example Auth React. It's Citadel's official example of how to build a React app with login. So now I'm in the terminal. I am going to clone this. So here's what we got. A complete React application. It has all the authentication logic that is already built in. We just need to configure it with our Citadel credentials. The key file that we need to look at is called .env.example. Okay, so this is the .env.example file. Let me walk you through what each line means. Don't worry, I will show you exactly how to fill these in. Now, as you can see, there's a bunch of variables. I will quickly go through over them. First, we have the pod. This is the local pod. That's where we'll see our app running. In our case, this will be localhost 3000. Then we have the Zitadel domain. This is your Zitadel instance URL that we got when we created the instance. Then we have the client ID. We got this when we created our application. That goes here. It's how Zitadel knows which app you are authenticating. And then you have the callback URL. This is the return address. After Zitadel authenticates the user, it sends them back to this URL. Your React app is listening here and catches the response. And then we have the post login URL. After the successful login, it shows the user's profile page. And finally, we have the post logout URL. After logout, it sends back the user to the home page. Okay, so now we need to copy this template and create a real.env file with our actual credentials. Okay, so as you can see, we have a .env file. This is where we'll put our real values. Now, I need to fill this with my real credentials. Let me go back to the management console and grab that information. So from this page, we just need two pieces of information. The first will be the domain URL. So for the domain URL, we have this from our address bar. So I will just copy that. And I will paste it in here. And the next thing that we need is the client ID. This is our client ID. I will copy this as well. And I will paste it. The other values in the file are already correct for our local development. Now we are good to go. So I will just quickly save it. Now, depending on your framework, you may notice that you have additional environment variables. React just needs client ID, but if you choose .NET, for example, you will need both client ID and a secret as well. As you can see, when you choose .NET as your framework, not only it will generate the client ID, but it will also generate the client secret that you can later to be used in your client secret in here. So it all depends on the framework you choose. You may have a additional environment variable as well. Now we need to install all the code libraries this React app depends on. So for that, we will install the dependencies. So we will do the npm install. This will take a moment and it downloads all the authentication libraries that our React app depends on. Do not worry about the vulnerabilities for now. Now let's run this app. For this, we can do npm run dev. And as you can see, our local server has started on localhost 3000. But before we continue, I also want to show you that you can also run via make start. And as you can see, it has these similar results. So you can use make start in this repo or any other framework example repo that we choose from the quick start guide. And as you can see, it will have the same results. But for now, we will use npm run dev. Okay, great. Now let's start the app. So we will start the development server. And there we go. The server is running on localhost 3000. Let's open this. All right. So as you can see, our app is running on localhost 3000. And let me quickly explain to you what's happening here and what we see. So the app displays the Pixie authentication demo screen. It explains the flow we just talked about and has a login button. This is the starting point of our application. Let's click on the login and see the flow happening in the real time. So see what happened? We clicked login on our React app and it instantly got redirected to the Zitadel's login page. Notice the URL changed to Zitadel's domain that we just created in the first step. This is the auth step. The user enters their credentials here on the Zitadel's page, not on our app. Our React app never sees the password. That's the security. Let me log in with the user we created earlier. Now I'll click on continue and watch what happens next. And boom, we are on our React app again. You see the authentication successful. Let's look at some of the important things that we see here. The first is the ID token. This contains the user's identity information. Then you have the access token. This proves that the user is authenticated. Then you have the whole profile data as well. This gives all the users information that Zitadel just gave to us. All of this was securely exchanged between the app and Zitadel during those redirects. Now let's complete the flow with the logout. And as you can see, we are back on the login screen again. So what happened in the background is that the app clears everything. The tokens, the session data, all gone. And you're redirected back onto the home page. Your session with Zitadel is also terminated and you're completely logged out. And that's the complete OIDC plus Pixie flow. There you have it, the complete authentication flow from login to logout.